Fish are the most diverse group of vertebrates on Earth. Astonishingly, between a half and a third of all fish species described live in freshwaters, despite the fact that these represent less than 1% of the total volume of water in the planet. Monitoring freshwater fish communities over time is extremely important to understand how their diversity is changing. As part of my project, I participate in a long-term survey of the freshwater fish in the Northern Range, which is a mountain range in the north of the island of Trinidad in the Caribbean. The fish in this part of the world live in shallow rivers, and we monitor them with a combination of techniques that are suited for these habitats. First, we place large seine nets at the extremes of 50-meter reaches of the rivers. Then, starting at one end of the reach, 2 members of the team use a large seine net aiming to capture all fish swimming in the water column. This process is repeated a few times to cover the area within the 50 meters, and the specimens captured are all placed in water buckets. Then, we use an electrofishing unit to capture species that tend to hide in burrows and often escape the nets. One person holds 2 poles connected to an electric generator, which produces a little discharge that momentarily stuns the fish and makes them float on the surface. Then, another person collects the fish and places them in a bucket. For the smallest specimens, which are difficult to catch using these methods, we use deep nets. Combining these techniques is really important to minimize the chances of missing species during the sampling. After we've surveyed the river, we count, we weigh, and we identify all the fish captured and return them to the river. We encounter many charismatic species. For example, this is an armored catfish called Hypostomus robini, or Teta, which is its common name in Trinidad. This fish has an impressive armored skin for defense and many adaptations to living in the bottom of the water column. For example, they have rough areas on their fins that allow them to grip on the substrate when there's rapid water flow, and a ventral sucker mouth to feed on organic matter that is attached to the substrate. The diversity of fish is affected by the conditions of their habitats, so our sampling also includes taking environmental measurements in the location surveyed. For example, river width and depth and the substrate composition are important physical habitat features that determine what fish can live in a particular location. Other variables, such as the amount of garbage observed and the pH of the water, can give us an indicator of how impacted the habitat is. Monitoring programs such as this one are especially rare in the tropics, yet are crucial to understanding how assemblages change over time and in response to human disturbance. This in turn informs the effective conservation of tropical freshwater species and habitats.